Noosa, but I spend a little bit of time in Brizzy. I've got kids in Brisbane. And so not that they want to see me all the time. It's like they're at that age where it's like, it's my son's birthday next week and he's going to be 25. And I said to him, oh, sweetheart, so how about we have a dinner together, family dinner? And he goes, Mum, I was thinking, I think this year I'll just do it alone, me and Melina, his girlfriend. And I said, really? I said, you're not going to see your mum? And he said, it's like, I know it's a bit brutal. And I said, well, how about I just come and see you the week later and we won't call it your birthday, but we'll just have dinner. And he said, oh, that sounds good, Mum. Anyone got teenagers out there? It's like, or, post-teenagers. Anyway.
Janine, how old are your kids?
My eldest just turned 13 last week.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Lucas, my son, is my youngest. He turned 13. And he's the lively one. April, my daughter's 17. She's a bit more like, she's more like her dad. He's more level-headed than I am. But I'm known to be. Anyway, that's all right. He'll be fine. Anne, are you there? Anne, do you want to put your video on? It'd be lovely to see you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Yep, I'm here.
Hello.
How are you?
And so where is everybody living there? Are you all around Melbourne area?
No, actually, I moved to Brisbane from Melbourne. Yeah, I escaped the lockdown.
Yeah, very good. I'm in Brizzy as well too, and myself. Is anyone on the call here in Sydney?
No, I'm Shepparton, the same as Tracy.
You're Sheppardy, Janine,
Yep.
yeah.
So is Annette. Jackie's not far from us. Jackie's, 40, half an hour away.
Remember, I'm on mute. Sorry, yes, I'm from Shepparton.
Yes.
Margaret, you want to put your, you want to unmute yourself? Let's have a chat. Marie, Belle? Oh, we've got more. Kataya, I'm just going to let her in. I'm checking my screen to make sure that
yes,
everyone that comes in, I let them in.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're far and few between. My daughter, she sent me this link that was on TikTok about the premiers talking about it. Was so funny. And the New South Wales Premier was talking about, they asked her the question, has Victoria done this well? And she's like, oh, no, they haven't. And then it cuts straight across to Dan Andrews and he's like, well, I'm not here to, respond to those comments. It's not about this. It's not about that. And, I just want to make sure that we stamp this out and, and he says something about New South Wales and he goes, and it came from New South Wales. And it was sort of like, and it was their fault. It was just, you had to see it. It was quite funny.
There's a lot of finger pointing. But isn't it nice, lately with the Olympics, at least there's been Olympics on before the COVID news starts. It's been a little bit refreshing, even if you're not really into Olympics. It's like, oh my gosh, there's something else apart from this other stuff. But today we're going to forget all of the Olympics and all of the COVID-y stuff. And we're going to focus on ourselves, which is just a lovely place to be focusing on amongst it, knowing that all of us are women here and we all look like a similar-ish vintage together. Vintage, anywhere between, looks like we're all kind of post, I don't want to offend anyone, but it looks like we're all, Jackie, you look quite young there. How are you? Have you hit your 30s?
Yes, I'm nearly 40.
Okay, well, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. So that's good. Well, we've got that. We're going through the 30s to the 40s to the 50s and probably into the 60s here. But so I know that there's a lot in common that we all have. So thanks, Tracy.
Okay, so in the interest of time, it's 12:37. Would you like to make a start? I'm going to let everyone in as they come through.
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I love seeing everyone's faces. It's beautiful. So I just want to start by welcoming everyone to the Masterclass series, which has been going since last year when COVID hit. I thought, wow, what are we going to do? So much like everyone else, we get online and still connect. And hasn't it changed how we communicate and what we're used to now? I mean, most of us were using Zoom prior to this, but it just feels like second nature now. So it's all good. This is the Masterclass series, and I've made it my mission to bring the absolute best of the best in Australia that I've worked with and that I'm connected to, because I think that only when you are in the best company, or the type of company that has walked the path prior to you, has so much wisdom and knowledge and experience to share, and it seems like such a waste if we don't share that. So that's what I've wanted to do. Obviously, I reached out to Christina. I've known Christina for, gosh, 5 years, 6
Yes,
years.
about that.
Christina has been one of my mentors, my personal mentors. And I've got to say, and I'm going to read out her bio in a sec, but she is absolutely true to form when we talk about conviction and when we talk about belief and commitment. I've never met anyone that is so lives by those words. They're not just words on a bio, they're absolutely real. And she may or may not touch on some of those things. I'm not sure exactly what she's going to share with us today, but I know that she is the Queen of Mojo, so she's going to go on all of those and outline those for you. But really, I'm hoping that you all registered when you read the headline that said, "Embrace the courage of your convictions and commitment to a life that's centered around the things that truly matter." And a couple of weeks ago, we went to Bright because we were going to Sydney. We're going to see Hamilton. Everything went pear-shaped, as it does, but that's all good. And I remember sitting around with the family, because you've got to remove yourself from your home to actually spend time with your family. And I thought, this is what really matters. Like, you've just got to have that circuit breaker to take it all in and stop the running around. So without further ado, Christina Guidotti is one of Australia's leading experts on success, belief, conviction, and commitment, without a doubt in my mind. I can personally attest to that. And so over 25 years, she's walked her own extraordinary successful path. As a mum, as she's just mentioned, she's got a beautiful daughter as well, and a business leader with extensive sales, leadership, productivity, and mindset expertise. Christina's background is she was one of the most successful women in real estate. She may or may not touch on that. Anyway, Christine's got so much to share. She is also the founder of Leading Women, a series of transformational programs and events which energizes women from all walks of life to achieve sustainable success and empowerment. And I love the word empowerment, as you all know. She inspires women everywhere she goes to trust in her proven methods for success. So she has quite a number of programs, and she works with women in so many different ways. She's also a partner at Thought Leaders Global, and this is an international educational company that are obsessed with helping clever people in organizations and businesses to be commercially smart. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over and mute myself and let you enjoy the next 45 minutes with Christina Guidotti. Thank you.
Thanks, Grace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just everyone mute themselves. Sorry, Christina, just so there's no background noise and Christina's free to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you so much for inviting me on. And also, I'm really grateful that you ladies have shown up. So, you know, means a lot to Tracy and I. So thank you for your time. I know there's lots of ways that you could be spending it right now. So we hope that you get something out of this, something I think that hopefully touches you, possibly your heart, to help to drive you and inspire you to the progress that you want. So huge gratitude. Just a great opportunity to meet you and to meet each other. And, you know, and also I think together, you know, coming together, just lovely to be able to kind of connect and to sort of see what might resonate, and it just tends to sort of bring us all just together once again. So really grateful for that. We will use a chat a little bit because I want to start off with a question for you, and I know that this is kind of like our first date, so to speak, and so problem with me and my personality is I tend to get in really deep and fast and get going. So just excuse me for that. So let's pretend that we've known each other for some time. Yeah, let's pretend that we just know each other, you know, like we're all similar anyway, really. We've all been through a journey, and we're women, we're trying to get off what I call the sticky floor, which is that kind of trying not to sort of get stuck down and trying to be responsible. We're also sometimes trying to break through stuff at the top end, potentially a glass ceiling, and just trying to navigate things. And so we got a lot in common. Some of us have had children, some of us and maybe have chosen not to have children. Some of us are in business, some of us in transition for business, some of us own our own business, some of us work, but so it doesn't matter, but there's so many commonalities of us. So let's pretend that we've known each other for a while. Have a question to start off. If there was one intention that you had today, and just again, looking for a little bit of vulnerability, it doesn't really matter what other people say. I'm really just interested in you because I'm seeing all of your faces here and I can see the chat. I'm interested in getting to know you a little bit more. If there was one intention that you had today, so it might be an intention of something that you would like to get out of today based on possibly something that's going on for you currently, or possibly something that's kind of been hanging around as kind of an issue. Now, respectfully, I know that there's a lot of potential for our mental state to be affected. So it could be something as simple as some anxiety, stress, depression. It could be a specific thing, which could be, I just want to get a handle on this. What we're really talking about today is some of the framework is restoring our self-belief or our belief in ourselves. So gosh, some of the most confident people, some of the people that appear most confident can be those riddled with some self-doubt. And so it's okay if that is something that you're looking at, helping with that confidence. If it can be a little bit specific, that'd be great as well. So I just want everyone to, just for the next minute, just put something in the chat for me, please. And that way I can kind of talk to that a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not going to single you out too much. And just, we're all amongst friends here. We're all part of the WOW Women. So, and I just want to make sure that I'm a bit obsessed with giving you value. Yeah. And so let's just pretend that it's just you and I on this call in some ways. So yeah, just give me something as far as, what, if there was something you'd love to get out of it, out of today, what would that be? Knowing that my specialties are belief, conviction, and commitment. My second book's called True Believers. My first book is called How to Have It All. You might not want to have it all. Some people don't even give themselves permission to have it all, but having it all is just really how to live a life according to your values. So I'm just going to make some little notes here, and then we can make sure that as we walk through, we kind of talk to this. And yeah, so some great things coming up around confidence to achieve the goals that we set ourselves. Yeah, gosh, can't not reaching our goals be a confidence killer a little bit? We kind of give up a little bit, just say you want to kind of lose 10 kilos or lose 5 kilos or achieve this wealth or this, or go for that relationship. Oh gosh, often we can get really turned off when that doesn't happen. Again, there's another one on confidence, which is lovely. Ramping up the high level of health. Yeah, that's a good one too. And well-being for sure, because that's everything, isn't it? We kind of learn that, don't we? Janine has also said just around that self-doubt, and sometimes that can lead to that procrastination, for sure. And managing others' expectations, that's a big one too, isn't it? We're actually going to talk to all of these today. So I think we're in the right place. So great audience, and hopefully we can answer some of these. So thank you. Now I'm going to kind of start off by saying that there's some facts that I want us to acknowledge, and some of these are going to resonate with you more than others. But if we think about what's going on in the world around us, and I know some of these things we can't control too much, but here's the thing: is I do believe that overall over the years that the standard of living for us has gone up. Do you know what I'm saying? That we live a pretty privileged life. I know that things have been a bit tough with pandemics and things like that, but generally the standard of living is going up. But sadly, would you agree that the quality of life in many cases is actually going down? You know what I mean? It's this kind of thing that's going on. So one thing's going up and we're looking around seeing all these lovely things around us, and, and there's, all sorts of great ththings going on in the Western world, but then the quality of life is often going down. Mental health. Gosh, I don't think there's many of us that have escaped, the increasing stress that can happen in our lives, the rushing, the busy, but not only that, loved ones, friends, family, work colleagues that have been, really suffering from some depression, some anxiety, and the like. So we do know that mental illness is a growing problem. We know that working parents So if you're a working parent, if you've got kids, just write in the chat box. If you're the mother of 1, 2, 3, and if you've got stepchildren, you can include them as well. So do just share in the chat for me so I get a bit of an idea. So, who are the dependents that you've got? If you may or may not have children, but you might have aging parents, or you might have a bunch of responsibilities. So we do know that the fact that we're pulled often, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, from all of the responsibilities that we have, is in one of the other facts that really matter, that are affecting us and affecting what we're talking around our confidence and our self-belief in ourselves. So the other piece is that when you think about businesses, so if you're a business owner, and I know that there's a few of you here that have your own businesses, but if you're not a business owner and you're working for someone, then don't underestimate the problem with presenteeism. Well, absenteeism is something that you can actually see a lot of. You can see someone not turning up, but presenteeism means that often we've got, I can see a few nods there. Often we're turning up and we're kind of there, but we're not there. And gosh, I've been like that at different times throughout this year, haven't you? It's just that we're kind of there, but we're kind of like, we're just not engaged. We're just not feeling it, and I'm not surprised with all the things that we've all had to navigate. So we do know that can be costly though, and how do we kind of avoid that or minimize that? There's going to be some days that we do want to just lie in bed, pull up the covers, watch Netflix, whatever we want to do, whatever that thing is that you like to do when you're sort of wanting to just to zone out. That's absolutely okay. But we want that to be kind of minimized so that we have more of these joyful, powerful days. One of the other facts that really matter is the connection is often leading to a disconnection. Like here we are, ironically, I'm talking about this and I'm online, but hey, let's face it. I mean, how much have we had? That's why I'm determined. I'm enjoying watching the videos here. Half of you have got your videos on, and please do feel free to share your video. I'd love to see your beautiful faces. I live on my own, and as I said, I've got a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old, and my kids live with their partners away. And so sometimes you are the people that I'm seeing and connecting with in the day. So lovely to see you, and I'm happy to see your faces there. And I know it's a little bit the same for some of you as well. One of the other sort of, I guess, facts that matter is, even though we've been a bit distracted with stuff, there's still the important note that the society really is still right behind the equality piece and the opportunities for women. So we still know that's just underlying, and we don't want to get into drama about that and let that stop us from being powerful. But there are some facts. I speak to a lot of clients and a lot of women. I've been mentoring for 10 years in my work, and mentoring leading women or thought leaders, and I get a lot of women that say, gosh, I'm still in this situation where I'm working all day, I'm coming home and I'm the social director, and I'm the one that's cleaning, and I'm the one that's cooking and all of that. And so how do we kind of progress and keep our mojo and all that's going on? And let me just add in the last and final fact, which I know that you'll know, is there is a global pandemic out there. How ridiculous is it that we're living through this? I mean, gosh, come on, let's get this sorted. And so, and I know, speaking to a lot of people over the last week, we want to always keep hope, clearly, but I've had a few people, particularly living in Sydney, some of my clients, and you might have noticed it as well. And we've just got to, as caring people around, we've just got to be really compassionate for how people are going. And I know a lot of you are from Victoria, and there's been a lot of lockdowns for you in the past as well. And so I just think we've got to be really mindful of others and really mindful of how others are going, and reach out. I said to one of my clients today, she's a principal in real estate, and I said, how many clients and contacts have you got in Sydney? I said, have you reached out to them or areas? And she said, no, I haven't. So that might just be something that we think of, is even though we're here today for ourselves and helping ourselves, and I know that that is often something that we leave, is I want us to always still be mindful of us, being conscious and reaching out to others. So yeah, there's a lot of those facts that matter. The problem is if we don't address some of these facts that can really bring down our mojo, bring down our energy, we are at risk of our nervous system really kind of freaking out, you know, and we want to learn how to chill out a bit more. So I can see a few beautiful little nods there, and I understand that you get that, and I get that too, is that, you know, there's things that we can't see that are going on inside our bodies. And I just want you to really stop for a moment and think. Take a breath for a start. Let's take a big, deep breath. From the belly. Don't we forget to do that sometimes? It's rush, rush, rush. And so just, you know, be really conscious. You know, we really want you to be more chilled out. And I know that can just be really easier said than done, but I want us to learn how to be a little bit more chilled out as we progress forward, because that's kind of the ultimate in longevity, is it's going to keep us alive, is us making sure we get, you know, a parasympathetic nervous system, and we've just got to be conscious of what's happening with that. There's things that you and I can't see, that we don't want to get a little tap on the shoulder one day and go, hello, it's your turn to have something, some disease that we don't want to have. We want to kind of avoid that. And some of you have already been through some of this stuff. My mum and my sister have had breast cancer. My sister just acquired that about 6 months ago. She's doing okay. Mum's doing okay as well. But, you know, I went to the breast clinic and had my checkup the other day. So it's just conscious. We've all got to be conscious. Now, I don't know if you've seen the documentary Heal. Has anyone seen Heal? If you haven't seen it, check it out. Make a note. If you've got a pen and paper there, check out Heal, Heal, on Netflix, a fabulously powerful documentary. Some really incredible gurus, whether they be doctors for physical health, emotional health, some spiritual gurus, if you're into that spiritual space, Dalai Lama, all sorts of people. Is that Heal is an incredible documentary, talks a lot about the emotional impact on our health. And so it's kind of like, how can sort of, if there's, say, cancer or something in the family, how can we escape that just by having the control in a healthy way over our emotional health. And so I'm a really strong believer in expressing your emotions, but better out than in. I really believe our emotions better. I believe strong women cry. I believe strong women show their emotions. And I believe that the journey of women, particularly over the last couple of decades, you know, has been that we've really had to fight for a lot of stuff. But I reckon it's a very confused generation, the one that I'm in. I'm 52 now and 53 soon. And the thing is that, you know, my mum was kind of, she knew her role, which was actually to be a woman that, you know, raises children. My mum is probably not completely unique, but mum's never worked outside the home. She's worked down hard to raise family and grandchildren. She does a great job of it as well. So then there's me that's kind of got this sort of thing of that, you know, I want to have it all. I want to work. I'm having children. I want to have financial freedom. And, you know, now I'm single. I finished my 29-year marriage. I finished that in July 2015. And have been sort of navigating, I guess, single dating scene. Oh God, that's another scene. I could write another book on that. So, you know, the interesting experiences that we have as a woman. And then I've got my daughter that's growing up, and because she is nothing like what I was when I was 18. When I was 18, I was kind of like, you know, trying to, my daughter seems to know it all already. You know, she seems to be this strong, confident woman. But here's the thing that I've noticed, and this is going to be a little bit controversial. And some of you may get it. Some of you may not appreciate it. But it is just something that I've observed from, again, 10 years of mentoring thousands of women, you know, intimately, face to face, belly to belly, or whether it be in events, etc. I've noticed that because of us having to fight for some freedom, for some equality, we've really lent into our masculine. In many cases we've had to, you know, like I know I was the main breadwinner for the last 7 years of my marriage, and, you know, and it was kind of like I was the one going to the accountant and the banks and all of that sort of stuff. And I think sometimes it's just survival. And so we kind of get a bit hard because we're trying to get through it. We're trying to kind of keep everything, you know, going. And then sometimes we can, you know, the natural state of us as women that are naturally compassionate, nurturing, soft, gentle. Now, here's the thing. Is I believe it's possible for us to be strong and resilient and powerful and successful, and also to be gentle and soft and loving and nurturing. But I believe it's not easy. But I also believe that this all talks to the whole topic of today, which is restoring our self-belief, because I believe that it's got confusing for us in the generation that we're in many parts. And I believe that if you really asked a lot of women, are they truly happy? They would say no. And I say, well, why is that? When the standard of living is going up, we've got so many opportunities, and but generally we're not, because we're missing our kids in many cases, or we don't have the relationships we want with our loved ones. We might not have the intimacy. We might not have the best relationships. And I care about you in that state, and I understand, because I've probably felt everything that you've felt or that you're potentially feeling now. So really do feel for you in that area. So I'm going to share my screen and just take you through a few ideas. And again, we'll have a little opportunity at the end just to ask a couple of questions. So I just want to kind of share with you a few ideas that are going to hopefully, just shed a little bit of light on what I believe could help us with our self-belief. I'm interested in also the whole idea of what we feel success is as well. So I'm just going to share my screen there. Tracy, I think you can give me the thumbs up if that looks like that's happening. Yep, fantastic. So, if success is often our aim, and I reckon sustainable success is what we want to aim for. So that word sustainability, you get it right. So we've had these sort of short bursts of success, but how do you kind of have that sustainable success? And then I like to ask, what's the secret of this sustainable success? If there is a secret, what really does allow us to have this? What is it about these people that seem to have this sustainable energy, the sustainable success? By the way, and success to me is all around the health, the wealth, and relationships and the work. So it's not just around success around your work or your finances. It's everything success around your relationships and your health. And I believe this is the answer, that there's no better investment than you. Someone said to me the other day, Christina, a lot of people talk about this, but you've been talking about this for 10 years. Absolutely. I've been talking about this in my own work as a thought leader for the last 10 years and just really saying it is time. Now, the biggest thing women say to me is, I feel selfish. That's enough to really hurt our self-belief, is that when and someone in the chat, it was lovely, said, I want to really get to the point that I don't really worry so much about what others think, and I get that. And so what we want to start to do is, if I was to give you sort of empower you or give you permission to say, you know what, it's time that it be all about you. And you go, well, hold it a second. I've got kids. You don't understand. I've got this and this and that. And I get that. But actually, we're no good for anybody unless we really look after ourselves. And you know what? When you look at the work of Bronnie Ware, the palliative nurse that wrote The 5 Regrets of the Dying, if you haven't looked at that, check it out. Bronnie Ware, BRONNIE. And, she talks about the number one regret that we have at the end of our life is that I wish that I had the courage to live the life that I wanted rather than the life that others expected of me. Now, I know some of us think, oh gosh, that's easier said than done. I've got this, but here's one piece that I think we miss. Many people say, oh, but my investment in now is my children, and they're this, and I've got my child in what's it called in HSC or something. Anyway, the last year we call it something different in Queensland, and all of that sort of stuff. And they say, but when my child finishes that, or when this happens, I've got some clients that are really unhappy in their marriage, and I'll leave him when, and I'll leave this when, and all sorts of things. And I go, you know what? And they often say, because I don't want to hurt others. And I go, don't underestimate the opportunity for you and I to lead by example with our truth and with our true path. That is your legacy. That's more of your legacy than staying quiet, than staying buttoned up, And so you can see my conviction in my voice around this. And I've learned this the hard way. There's times that I've put everybody else first but me. But I believe that is what self-leadership is putting ourselves first. And then the first sale always becomes to ourselves. And because a lot of us are in sales, right? A lot of us in the business of influence. We want to influence. We want to get position. We want to get ahead. We want to get traction. And I know that one of the best ways that we can lead others is to sell to ourselves first. And this piece here, and you would be surprised how quickly that your self-belief can happen when you start to put yourself first, and then leading us always comes a close second. And we know this to be true, that the changes that we want to see in the outside world start within us. So if we just pause on that for a moment, and I reckon that potentially there's a rhetorical question here. Have you made the decision to devote more time and energy to yourself and to your well-being? Because there's an opportunity to make the decision now, because I do believe that everything starts with the decision. And sometimes it might just be someone asking you this sort of question. And so hopefully the answer is yes. Now you might say, look, I'm doing a lot of that, but you might say it's not really getting me there. It might mean that we've got to double down on that devotion again. Then we talk about what is sustainable success. And I really believe it's this, is living life according to our values. If you were now to write down in your little pad, or you can write it in the chat box, and you're in your heart, if you've got to put your hand on your heart, and you thought, you know what are the top things that are really, really important to me? And I don't mean just that cerebral kind of, intellectual answer, oh, this and this and this. I mean at your heart. What's important to you? If you write down what that is, what's important to you? If this was the last day of your life, now here's the good news, you're 100, so don't panic. It's not the real last day, right? So I really want you to channel this. I really want you to feel deep into your heart. Even just close your eyes if you want. I'm going to close my eyes because I don't care what other people think. And this is where we're at, right? The self-belief is it's all about us. No one's looking at us. Close your eyes and you just imagine this is the last day. Take a deep breath. What are the things right now that are coming to mind that are really important to you? And if this was your last day today, are there any regrets? There often are, where we go, you know what? This was what I was focusing on, where it should have been or could have been this. And so this helps us to start thinking about what our values are. What is it that we really value? And I want you to write that down. I want you to write that down, because to me, this is sustainable success, but there's so much that gets in the way of us. It's one thing to make the decision, decide on our values, but it's so much when we ask about what do we truly value? What do you truly value? And we're starting to think about these today. The question is, are you living by the values? That's the truth. That's the true question. That's the true congruence. The true alignment. Are you living by your values? And it's often the answer is no. I've never met many people that said that health is not important. However, I've met many people that have said health is important and they're a smoker and they're overweight and they don't exercise. Now, I'm not here to make you feel bad. We might lose half of our audience here, Tracy. People say that's not very nice. I wasn't wanting to be inspired by Christina. But here's the thing: is I get it. There's times. But listen, you can have the chocolate cake, or what's your yummy? You can have your Tim Tams. You can have your rum and raisin chocolate. You can tell I'm a chocoholic, by the way. I'm just only talking about chocolate. You can have your chocolate, or you can have your, anything, your ice cream. But you just got to have the salmon and the chicken, and that more often, and the veggies and the fruit. So I'm not saying you can't have different things, or you can't have some things, but most part we want to live mostly by these important values. And if you're not, the big question is why not? So I know the answer to this. Again, thousands of women over the last 10 years. And before that, I had a 20-year career in real estate, or 15-year career in real estate. And so, and I've been mentoring people on this stuff for so long, and it's finding the deep and really start to unlock where the self-sabotage is, where the self-limiting beliefs are, and really get to the answer of why, we're not actually living by these values. And it's quite complex and it's quite individual. But if you were to take it as a guess, or to actually take an educated guess, why don't you write down for yourself, or you can share in the chat. Depends. It's just totally, this is your journey. It's just about you. Is why do you think that in many parts, the things that you value, you're not getting traction in because we're not actually living by those? What do you think the answer is? It could literally be that you are, and I don't like this word, but I'm going to say it because it's a common word, busy. There's so much on. But then if you look at the underlying problem of that, that's actually productivity. That's actually discipline. That's actually vision. That's actually momentum, conviction. All of that is really the problem. So we want to sort of find out why we're not actually getting that traction. And in True Believers, my second book, we talk about belief, conviction, and commitment. I think that's one of the reasons why Tracy asked us to talk about belief today and restoring our belief, because belief is a big one, and belief is not always there. Think about any particular project. Think about a project that you've got now. Think about something that you really want. Let's have a think about that. Think about something that you'd love. Write it down. Tell me, is it something specific around your health? Is it, do you want to fall in love? Do you want to have a better relationship? Do you want to reach that particular point in your business? Do you want to be able to reduce your hours, get your dollars up and your hours down? Do you want to be able to pay off your mortgage or to buy a home? Do you want to be able to live by the sea? Here's the thing, is the longer it takes us for us to get to the things that we want, the more the self-doubt will come in. It can start to erode our self-belief. But here's one thing, if this is the only thing you hear today, then we're doing okay. Is I believe that it's not self-belief that's essential to your success and progress. It's actually having courage to walk forward in the face of your self-doubt. So what you and I really need is to be courageous. And that means we need to take a risk. We need to put ourselves out there. We need to be prepared to fail. We need to be prepared for people to say no to us. We need to be prepared. And so that is the thing that's going to help you get momentum and help to restore your self-belief, is to see yourself going forward. And eventually you will get more wins. You will get more progress. But when someone talked about one of the problems that you're having is the self-procrastination, and that's something that can become almost like a habit. If you haven't read James Clear's book called Atomic Habits, that's a good one to help you with better habits. So, and then the question is, are you a true believer? Because I believe that true believers get to the top of the ladder. I've created a little ladder for you. I'd love you to have a look at this. And have a look at the words on the far left-hand side, and you can see what the words mean. If we're a diminisher, we're causing decline. It means we're very negative, and it's okay for you to admit to yourself that you could be a diminisher at the moment. Am I persecuting people? Am I really down in the dumps? Am I really drained? Hey, that's okay, because we've all been down there. Or you're a little bit higher up the ladder. Maybe you're a non-believer, whereas you're not so much persecuting, but you're full of self-doubt, a bit negative. Or you a dreamer, where you kind of have that vision, but nothing's happening. It's kind of, I'm not really getting any traction. I'm kind of in wishing mode. Are you a little bit higher up the ladder, where you're a worker? I'm getting things done and I'm kind of just in survival mode, and I'm kind of like the swan on the surface, but I'm swimming like this underneath the surface. But I'm doing lots, but I don't really seem to be getting ahead. Or yeah, you a convincer. A convincer is someone that's always trying to prove, but at least you're really out there trying to look for that agreement and look for those yeses. Are you a believer, so that you have this kind of real inner belief, but there's no proof yet? It's like, I really believe I've got this, but there's no evidence of success showing up. So where are you at the moment? Where do you feel that you are? And sometimes you might have been this today, but yesterday you might have been something different. Now I'm going to stop sharing so I can have a little sticky beak, because I don't want to be left out of this conversation. So I've got a worker here. I've got a worker and a convincer. Yep, I can see that. Someone said, oh my God, that's me, a worker convincer. Well, that's fabulous. So, and by the way, if you were perfect, I wouldn't have an opportunity to present this today. So thank you for not being completely perfect yet. Tracy and I love you to leave us a little bit something we can help you with, yeah? Great. And so a dreamer or a worker, absolutely. So it's just lovely sometimes to be able to pinpoint where we are now. And you know what I love about ladders? And I love about ladders, and you can say to yourself, the only way is up, baby. You know that song, the only way is up, baby. It's probably not that song, but anyway, I love to put a song to anything. But here's the thing is let's know that we can go up a ladder. We can go up a ladder. Thank goodness. And so what we're looking at doing is we're looking at you identifying there's an opportunity for you to go north up that ladder, and then to be okay when we slip down a little bit. So that's okay as well. So I believe that this is what a true believer, how you become a true believer. Now, what I really want you to look at first is the byproducts, which are those little square boxes, the ones with the arrow that says stamina, consistency, and persistence. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice to have more stamina? Yeah. More consistency and more persistence. Well, I know that I want that. And so what we're looking at is we are looking at trying to improve your belief, your conviction, and your commitment. Absolutely. But I want to sell you the results or the outcomes first. You know, I want you to buy into that. Because if I said, oh, would you like more belief? You'd go, yeah. But if you want more stamina, you'd go, yes, I really want more stamina. Hey, by the way, just a little health tip. Disclaimer, I'm not giving health advice, but I have a holistic doctor. Have you ever heard of a holistic doctor? So a holistic doctor is like a GP, but they're also into natural medicine. And I believe they're the best doctors, quite frankly. And so I've got this fabulous holistic doctor up in the Sunshine Coast. But she, you know, they come in. Have you ever done the zinc saliva test? If you're not doing that, then maybe you need to find a holistic doctor. So you come in and they do give you a little thimble of something and you swelch it around in your little mouth. And if it's yucky, then you know that your zinc is high and good. If it's just like water, like mine was recently, it's like you are really low in zinc. Imagine that you can have something prescribed like zinc, you know, to increase your everything. Libido, how's that? Libido, if you can increase your energy, there's so many benefits of zinc. And it could be your iodine might be low. I was third world country low in iodine a few years ago, foggy head, couldn't concentrate, you know, and imagine that it could just be the fact that you need some iodine. So you don't want to self-prescribe, but you want to get a benefit. But the other day, the woman was telling me the benefits, this brilliant doctor, of bone broth. And a lot of you I know may have tried bone broth. It's nothing sexy to be making at home because it stinks out the house, but I buy a powdered bone broth. But anyway, this is my latest little top tips on health because I'm absolutely obsessed with health. And, you know, I'm still Botox free and I'm pretty proud of that. I've got very good skin for my age. And I actually believe it's things like this, all this holistic approach, and it's your, you know, vitamins, it's your minerals, it's the people that you hang with. Like I like hanging with Tracy Soffer, amazing people that inspire me. And it's, you know, it's the things that we do, the things we put into our body. Now, not to say that I don't have a chocolate addiction. I do like a bit of red wine. I do. Not to say that I don't sometimes have late nights. I do. You know, and had my fair share of stress. I have, you know, I've had all my crazy stuff. And my beautiful son, he allows me to share his story where it's appropriate. Times like this, you know, he had a little mental health issue, which brought him in and out of the psychiatric ward for several years from when he was 13. So that was sort of part of my path, which was visiting him up at times there. And, you know, gosh, isn't it enough to stress you out, some of this stuff as a mother, you know, when you're worrying about your children? I know a lot of you with children around that early age starting to go through some of these things, and it's enough to really stress you out. And, you know, stress is not good for our internal or anything. So I'm really into your health. You know, how can we make sure that we're really obsessed with their health so we have more stamina, more consistency, and more persistence? So you know what I'm doing right now with you? I am selling you in all different little ways. I'm trying to be a little bit clever. I'm selling you on the idea that it is time you made a decision to invest and double down in you and your health. And so I'm trying to get your why and your conviction around this to be stronger than your excuses. Yeah, stronger than your excuses. I love it when if I talk about excuses, I get all these nods in the audience. Yeah, my excuses. Because what we've got to be careful of is if the non-believer shows up, it can be a very dark day sometimes where we have lack of purpose, we're inconsistent, and we have poor stamina and rarely finish. And I know that can be the case. That's some of your cases at the moment. And we want to try to get you out of that. And we want to get you to what I call the right side of this idea of we want you to have more purpose, be inspired, and we don't want you stepping over into that non-believer sort of area. So I promised, Tracy, that I'd give you some practical tools. I'm going to give you something that I call probably like the culmination of my best thought leadership over the last, I guess, 10 years. And I want to bring this idea of mojo in for you. So I'm just going to share this. If you think about what mojo is maintaining, if you look at the yellow, a really healthy combination of work, rest, and play. But a lot of us, the workers, so I know that a lot of you put your hand up for the workers. A lot of you are a worker, which is the blue. that means that you're achieving some stuff and often getting some results, but that you're very low in this quadrant around this celebration and this kind of, looking after yourself and, honoring yourself and taking time out. And I get that. And I get that there's times where we've got to really double down, but it's in long term, it's just not sustainable. Some of us, and it's probably less of us here, and women probably less in this, in the pink. So there's less of us that are here in the all play, which means we're just having fun. But sometimes we can be in this sort of denial phase, but more so we're in the blue. We don't want you to be in the green, and which is when we absolutely lose our mojo. And I mean, look, this does happen to me once or twice a year. And, and it will be times that I just go, oh, what am I doing? I'm feeling a bit disillusioned. And it's often because I'm not aligned with my values, and I've got to just stop and breathe. So think about where you are right now on that quadrant model. And what we're doing is we're doing a lot of diagnosis of you. I do this in a more thorough way, and when we're one-on-one, and I do a very deep diagnosis to look at every single area of your life. But at the moment, what we're trying to achieve is, are you a worker? Are you all play? Or have you lost your mojo? Or are you doing okay and maintaining your mojo? So having great mojo definitely helps restore our self-belief, because that's what we really want. And that's what we're here for. This is what I believe is the answer. So we're moving you down. So we're making decisions. We're moving down to start looking after ourselves. This is a particular what I believe mojo is. And at the core of mojo is joy. Right now, you notice that we've still got that belief, conviction, and commitment coming up here. You could take a photo of that screen, or you could take a screenshot if you want to capture that and be able to keep that. And so what we're looking at is these three things we need to happen for you. We need you to work on the inner peace. We need to work on the personal power, and we need to work on our purposeful productivity. So they're the three things: peace, power, and productivity. Now, the inner peace piece is the self-love, and that is your routines, yeah? So I teach what we call a body, mind, and soul routine. And I've been doing it myself for 15 years. And there's 9 steps. We won't get time to go through that today, because I want to go through something else today that's equally as important. But let's just say that part of the body, mind, and soul routine will include meditation. It'll include gratitude. It'll definitely include exercise. Some of it would be weight bearing. I believe as we're getting older, some weight bearing exercise, even if it just be our body weight. But I believe it's really, really important to, to have that, as well as being outside in nature. I'm a real believer of us getting outside, doing some walks. I talk a lot about the circadian rhythm. So we're going into some real health benefits and some really honoring ourselves and having more solo time. That's the inner peace work that we do. Some more solo time. I saw a couple of you write that down. And so now the personal power piece is where we start to go, you know what? It's time for me to have my voice. It's time for me to put myself first. It's time for me not to start repeating some of the patterns that I've done in previous times, or starting to be like the mother or father that I said that I wasn't going to be like. It's time for me to have that personal power. And of course, the purposeful productivity is very, very important. That's where we really start to find ways. I teach 10 productivity tools which help us. So we just sort of unpack. I've got a client at the moment, one of my Sydney clients, a fellow that we work together. And at the moment, we're just working on one of my 10 productivity tools with him. And we're going really deep into this. And it's all around not doing low value tasks. So if that's one that you could put on the list, we only want to do high value tasks. So what we want to do is we want to keep lists and identify, going, that's a low value task. Why am I doing that? So I've got an assistant in Sydney that has been with me for 6 years, fabulous girl, Amy. And, I'm obsessed with giving her all the low value tasks. So she manages my calendar. She confirms appointments, books flights, accommodation, sets up Zooms. I never set up a Zoom. Why would I do those low value tasks? You and I want to get our dollars up of what we're worth every hour and get our hours down. I don't want you doing tasks that you could be paying someone 20, 30, $40 an hour for, and having them just 10 days a week in your business And, you know, sorry, 10 days a week. That doesn't make sense. 10 hours a week. Well, that'd be effective. Yeah. And, but if you can get someone that's doing those low value tasks, really, really super duper important. So that's the sort of stuff that we want you to look at, is that making sure you're super productive. And sometimes you're just doing tasks that you shouldn't be doing. You're doing tasks that, so here's a question. Here's a quick fix that you can do. I want you to write this down when it comes to productivity. The first thing I want you to ask yourself, the questions I want you to ask yourself when it's a low value or high value, I want to say, do I delete it? So the first question is, do I delete it? That means, do I say no to it? That's the first question you ask yourself, not do I do it, do I say no to it? The second question that you ask yourself when it comes to super productivity is, do I delegate it? So that means say when I'm working with my stuff, I'll give it to Amy. So I'm going to delegate that whole task. The third thing that you might do when it comes to productivity is you might say, do I share it? So, you know how sometimes we'll do a task together, so Tracy and I are kind of here together on this masterclass, and we're helping women together in this particular instant, and we're sort of sharing this task. So instead of me just doing it all, Tracy helped me set up this, helped me with the audience, and so we're sharing this task. And the fourth and final thing that we default to the wrong way is we say, do I do it? So I don't want you to start with, do I do it? I want you to start, do I not do it? And so these are some little quick tips that I want to give you today. There might just be something that resonates, something that you remember today, tomorrow, the next day, in a week's time, a year's time. You might go, yeah, I remembered that. That's all Tracy and I want, is you to just take something away from this that you go, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's, if I could just do that one thing. Because I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed, can't we, at all the things that we need to do. It's a big piece. And then that's when we do procrastinate, when we go, like, it's too much. And there is a lot, right? I love Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. If you haven't read that, I love that. And you remember dominoes? If anyone's my vintage, dominoes that we all played, and gosh, and so you have that one domino. What's the one domino that will hit and will help everything fall in the right direction? And I reckon that, these ideas around productivity, only doing high value tasks, not doing low value tasks. So yeah, Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, is a good one. Now I'm going to share with you, this is what we really want to capture and get down, because it's kind of like your homework. This is what we promised on the brief. I'm going to share you the 5 principles of great mojo. Now you understand that great mojo is what helps with our self-belief. So I know that we've come in saying, I want to help my self-belief. I'm full of self-doubt and I don't have confidence. I go, yeah, but your practices, yes, your practices that you do regularly, consistently, and you persist with is what's going to help you. So let's go through them. So I want you to list these down, please. And these are in no particular order, but I do like to start with this one. I want us to expire the old stuff. Let's together make a decision today that we are going to expire the drama. Let's write that down. No more drama, girls. We're done. No more victim, no more persecutor, and no more rescuer. No more victim, no more persecutor, and no more rescuer. We're done. All done. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to expire the old stories. Yeah. We're going to expire the old stories. The stories that you've been saying, oh, he didn't do that and she didn't do that, and that was hard for me. And I remember when that happened. Let's expire that. And think about what are our old stories, and let's move on for that. And also expire the comparison. So these are all the things that we need to expire. And expire the guilt and expire the shame. That's a big one. That's a big one. And create that space to listen to our truth. The second of the 5 principles is to undress your ambition. So that's where I want you to think about all the facts that are keeping us small in the world, all those facts that, keep us, small as women and not putting our best foot forward. Is I want us to start to really, and share it with the true believer, share it with Tracy, share it with me, because we systematically underestimate our ability. And we know the work of Sheryl Sandberg that wrote Lean In, talks about sometimes we're called bossy as women, aren't we? Just because we want to have our voice. The third one is feel it in advance. So I do a lot of work with clients on this around our vision and really feeling it, using our emotions, our powerful emotions, to move ourselves forward in pursuit of what we want. The fourth one is cringing at excuses. And that's really important, to adopt that zero tolerance for excuses. And that's when we consistently deliver on the promises we make to ourselves. And the last and final one, we're going to finish up now and just throw back over to, if there's any questions, is to expect setbacks. I know it sounds really funny to expect setbacks, because it's like, Christina, I'm trying to avoid the setbacks, really? Like, how's that working for you? How's that working for you? Really? How's that global pandemic control that you're trying to do? Like, really just let go. Let's expect the setbacks. Setbacks are going to happen, and success comes from many failures, but it's what we do with those failures that truly matter. So thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for listening. I've got a few comments said, don't do drama, no more drama. Absolutely. And the question is, do I do it or do I delete it? Absolutely. So I'm happy for you to unmute yourself if you have a question, and because your question might be a question that others have, and we can go a little bit longer if we have to or need to. Tracy might have to go off, but if you want to stay and have a little bit more of a chin wag, I've got a training session from 2 o'clock, but I'm happy to stay a bit longer if anyone wants to stay and have a bit of a chin wag. In case you do have to go, Tracy and I thought of a little gift that we could give you today. And I'd love everybody to take up this offer if you'd like to. The little gift is a 30-minute private session with me. And so what that session is for me just to do a little bit of a diagnosis. So I do an exercise called Sustain and Drain. So it's a fulfillment diagnosis. Tracy can let me know potentially the names here, or you can reach out to Tracy, or my email is my crazy name, which is, it's hard to spell actually, but I'll put it in the chat, but it's info@ChristinaGuidotti.com.au. Look out for my name change too, because my middle name is actually Joy. And now I'm going to get rid of this old married name that's been hanging around for 6 years since I've divorced. Sometimes divorce is how you have it all, but not always. So I'm a big advocate for long marriages too. So staying in there, I can mentor you to 30 years. I was married for 29 years, so I can get you to 29 years marriage. On the 3rd year, can't do it. Sorry, I have to head over to someone else on the 30th year. I just can't get you there. But there's my email, info@Christina Guidotti. So if you'd like just a complimentary 30-minute chat together, and I am going to encourage you at some point to join my Mojo program, which is not an expensive program. I mean, I'm not saying that it's completely cheap either, but it's really good value. So it's an 8-week program, spending 8 weeks with me, and it's $1,200. So it's a group program. But anyway, let's talk about that on our one-on-one. So please do reach out, email me at info@ChristinaGuidotti.com.au. And yeah, let's just jump on a Zoom, get to know each other a little bit. Tracy's been lovely to give me this opportunity. Yeah, so any questions at all? Any questions?
I'm going to open it up. This is, I do have a few more minutes, definitely. So if you need to go, it's in the chat. I have all attendees' emails, which is great. And I will be emailing directly. I'll give you the details to Christina. And if she's got a calendar, or I'll discuss that with Christina. But right now, make the most of this time. This is one amazing woman. Don't be shy, because we all learnt this at school. We had this beckoning question and thought it was stupid. And when we asked it, everyone went, oh, me too, right? So let's go. Unmute yourselves.
I've got, I can share it in the chat. There's a really good, just from your introduction, there's a really good YouTube that Dan Buettner, I think his name is, and it's about the blue zones. Countries countries in the world where they've done. He's explored the longevity of elders in I think that's 4 countries in the world. So he looks at I think it's Sicily, one of the I can't remember the countries, but it's really good, and it comes up with sort of, I think it's about 6 or 7 principles around health and well-being. So it's worth you, and he's got a book as well, but it's his travel with his brother as well, and they've gone around, but they've done some research. It's from the US, but it's really quite good. So I can give you the chat.
One of those countries, Crete. Isn't one of the Greek islands?
Yeah, one of them's Greek, one's Italy, one's in was it Spain? Then I think it's Japan, obviously. But it looks at not only genetics, but it looks at really key principles about social connection and other things around food. And yeah, just spiritual. So it's a really good thing just to.
Well, I think we can
as well. Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Great share. Thanks, Ginny, because I think we can all learn from those that are actually living the long lives. It's like, what are they doing? You know, and probably there's a book also, another book by Dr. John Tickle. It's a very old book.
Tickle?
Yeah,
Dr. Tickle is great.
Isn't he funny? What's his book like? Sex, fish, and laughter or something. I don't know. But I think, I think more of that as well. I think that's probably the longevity there.
This is my age. He used to be on, I think it was Channel 7 or one of those morning programs.
Yes.
But it's really good.
Absolutely. All right. Jackie, thank you so much for sharing that. Jackie, Margaret, Jenny, or Jenny. There's a few Jennies on today. I think the other women had to go, which I totally understand. No stupid questions, as Jenny said. Anyone have any questions I'd like to ask about their particular journey or their particular mojo? Anything? What resonated with you today, Jackie? You gave good, beautiful face. You know how some people give good face? I kept on looking at your beautiful face because you were always smiling. So all of you were the ones that I could see. But Jackie, does anything particularly resonated with you today?
On your mojo Venn diagram, I think it's certainly the personal power bit that I'm lacking, because I do a lot of the self-love stuff and I'm very productive. But I think that's the missing piece. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to focus on that.
Yeah, and gosh, that's always been the hard one for me too. Like you, I started with that doubling down on myself, looking after myself and everything, but then there was this gap between then me bringing myself more to the world and really feeling like strong with my voice. And honestly, you'd be surprised how much self-doubt I've suffered from over the years. You'd be really surprised. And one thing that I learned is, you know, that saying that you hear people say that it's none of my business what other people think of me. You know, it's a funny old saying, isn't it? And it's like kind of like, and I kept on thinking that it's none of my business what other people think of me. Also, one of my mentors over the time with Thoughtless was a guy called Matt Church. And he was always saying to me, CG, no one's watching, you don't matter, and they don't care. And I'd go, well, why am I even bothering? And he said, well, exactly, just keep going out there, putting yourself out there. And so I had all these things drumming into me saying, you know, and so then I think it became almost just putting yourself out there. So Jackie, what you could think about, Dal, is, and I'm very, very happy to have a chat. We can talk more about this going forward, and, you know, happy to have that call with you, is that sometimes it's a matter of what would be the next brave thing to do that would put me out there. What would be, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and it builds like this muscle, this kind of this muscle of power, I guess, personal power. The other thing is sometimes you may have some role models. So sometimes there is some self-limiting beliefs that says that if we speak up or if we show our displeasure for something, that we will be seen as being disruptive or not nice. Now, that was always my belief. I always believed that if I ruffled feathers or whatever, that people maybe wouldn't like me or think that I was a problem. And I don't know if you relate to that. And so I was always too scared to do that. Yeah, Tracy said that's a little bit where she was at too. So sometimes it's just the acknowledgement going, you know what, I'm not going to be for everybody. And I think we play it safe. So I think personal power is where we go, you know what, the more I put myself out there, because I know I'm not for everybody. Some people, when they first meet me, go, oh my gosh, she's crazy, that woman. She's so full of conviction. She's so full on. And then, you know, and then I always have a joke, resistance is futile. Eventually we'll all come together, you know. And so I have a bit of a joke. That's my delusion, you know. That's my kind of, and you just have to get to that point. But I think that's for you next is, Jackie, just think about what's the next thing you can do to put yourself out there a little bit and really keep on saying to yourself, you know what, it's none of my business what others think of me. I'm going to be, and there's another thing I'll say is I've got one of my mentors, one of my other great mentors and ex-business partner, Peter Cook from Thought Leaders. And he always said that one of his guru spiritual guys said, every day we should be a little less serious. So yesterday I did a presentation in Townsville, and I was doing that kind of weird thing where you take your foot across another one and you clap your feet together on the side, take your foot. I was telling them about the effects of the bone broth lately, and I was making them laugh, and I looked like an idiot, I'm sure. I didn't care, and then I was just doing silly things and telling them about my failed dating history, and everything's going pretty well right now. Actually, I'm actually dating a guy for the last 4 months. Everything's good. He's upstairs actually. So there you go. This is his male kind of bookshelf here. So and I make people laugh. I talk about and so I think that's another piece for us when it comes to personal power is how can we allow ourselves to be a little bit less serious and just make a bit of fun of ourselves as well, be a bit self-deprecating, and because that's quite attractive to the world as well. And it allows us not to be perfect, because sometimes the thing that affects our personal power is our desire to be perfect, or that perfectionism piece. So we've got to be a little bit more, allow ourselves just to be normal. Yeah, absolutely. So any other questions at all?
That was beautiful. I love that. And if you were to define personal power, what would you say? What would you call it? How would you describe personal power? Because I'm just wondering, because I've got something in my head. I'm sure Jackie's got something in her head. What does it mean? What does personal power mean to you?
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what personal power is, and it's not force and it's not control. So what happens is, so force and control are where, and that's where the world has got into a bit of a pickle with some of these people that, are in positions of power that look at force and control. The guy, one of my previous dating relationships was I manifested a guy that was a narcissist, and he definitely had the control, the control. And then I thought, wow. And I felt very, very small and so I lost my personal power there. So, for me, personal power is your ability to stand in your conviction and to share your truth and share your voice and to be fully self-expressed, and to, be your authentic self, essentially. So, but it's not just feeling that, but it's actually you demonstrating that and showing that and leading with that. So, that's the piece there. And I think that, because for me, leadership, so self-leadership, personal power, self-leadership is more about you and I just walking forward. And then we look back and we go, oh, hello, are you following me? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, let's walk together. Let's go this way. Whereas sometimes, and that's that personal power that we have, we start to influence people. Whereas the other way of doing it is kind of saying, come on, no, you've got to come on, and selling yourself and trying to convince people to come with you. So personal power is, and it comes from us looking after ourselves and starting to walk that path, aligning with our values. And then we start to really shine.
And really being in relationships, be it the love relationship, the family, all relationships, our friends, our family, our own better half, if you like.
Yeah.
If those aren't, I guess now when you're saying that, I'm having these visions of all the women that I've spoken to. If that is not supporting you to be able to show up as who you are, and not feel embarrassed about, oh, I shouldn't say that because it's going to come across as cocky, and as women, as you know better than all of us here, you've been working in this space for such a long time, that there are so many labels that we get, as you said before. Oh, she's pushy, or she's bossy, or she's bitchy. Oh, for God's sakes, can I just be myself?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So do you think, Christina, if those relationships don't support it, it's a lot harder, obviously, to show up?
Absolutely. And that's why I say we've got to surround ourselves with true believers. So we've really got to surround ourselves with true believers. I mean, that's what sometimes for people that you and I work with, Tracy, sometimes we are the main true believer, because sometimes, there's a saying, Peter Cook, one of my ex-partners, talks about that there's a lot of well-meaning bad advice out there, right?
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So people mean well. So our partners, our loved ones, our kids, they're going to give us advice, but actually it's not good advice. And so sometimes you and I have to invest in help, or it will just be really discerning, around, because if you've got, I mean, I've done, I did, I've done, I mean, I'm sure we all have, but I've definitely done my fair share of divorces with some friends, male and female friends, where I go, you know what, this is not serving me. And I'm pretty particular, pretty cutthroat when it comes to that. I'll kind of go, no, done. And, and I'll actually write a little letter or write them a note saying, look, I just don't think that our values are aligned. So I don't want to be a friend anymore. I sound like I'm in grade 5 at school, right? But I kind of say, I don't think we should be together anymore. So I'm not then in a position where, when someone rings, you go, oh, I don't want to see them. Oh, I don't want to pick it up. Or, and then I don't want to be in that position. And so the personal power is where we say, you know what, this is not suiting me. And by the way, you never blame them or judge them. You say, this is about me. This is about my journey. Because, I mean, we might not be good for them in their eyes as well. But yeah, true believers, Tracy, you're totally right. Is we've got to think about who are the true believers in our life. And so it doesn't mean that we necessarily get rid of the close relationships, because I've got a lot of clients that have got very loving partners, husbands or wives, or just partners, doesn't have to be married. And they're very loving, caring people, but they're not actually supportive. Do you see the difference there? Like, so they can love you and care about you, but they don't actually have the ability, the strength, the know-how, their own strength to actually support you emotionally, energetically. And they just don't, and they're scared. And so you go and say, I want to go and do this, and mention, and they go, oh, don't get ahead of yourself. Or they're worried that you're going to get disappointed, or that, and they'll tell us stuff to slow us down. And it's just well-meaning bad advice. And so we need people that kind of inspire us and hold us. And that's what I do. I surround myself with people like that, that can kind of, that when I give them one of my big ideas, I don't think it's silly. I've got one of my beautiful clients that said to me, about a couple of months ago, she said, oh, I really want to have my own TV program with interior design. And I said, let's do it. She went, oh, she said, you reckon I can do it? I said, I know you can do it. I said, we're going to write your book first. So we're writing, I help a lot of people write their books. And so, so it's kind of like, sometimes we just need people that believe, they see and believe in us before we can believe in ourselves.
So what have you said to those people? Because I've got a certain situation where there was, she's in a relationship, again, meaningful bad advice about going and writing a book. And her family and her partner, it's, oh, what do you want to do that for? And I just simply said, Bron, you got to do this. This is amazing. And guess what? She did it.
I reckon that's really
and I said to her, I said, it's not, they're not, they love you and they're just concerned. They just can't see what you're seeing. But what have you seen? What sort of advice do you give to those people that aren't surrounded by the people that they need to be able to show up with their personal power? What eventually happens there?
Well, but I agree with what you said to Bronnie, because I think it was Bronnie said, because is it sometimes we just need others to say, no, you can do this, stay the path, even the face of the adversity. And yeah, I remember when I was going to I left real estate, and, I had 4 mortgages and 2 kids at private school. My husband hadn't worked in paid employment for 7 years. So there was a lot of financial pressure, and I just could not continue on in real estate. It was a family business. And I've been, I couldn't continue. And so the money was good, but then the money was turned off overnight. And so I had my father, who was the CEO of the real estate business, and my husband at the time, and everybody saying, you need to go back to real estate. You need to go back to real estate. And they said, no one's going to buy you. Who's going to pay you that for mentoring? And you're not going to make as much money. No, you can't, you won't, and you didn't. And then, you know what I did? I wrote them all an email, and I said, hey, everybody, please do not question me anymore. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And this is, and I've made this decision. And I just had to really back myself, and then surround myself with a few other people that believed in me. you know, so that Bronnie would have been you, Tracy, you know, when Bronnie sort of hung with you there. And so sometimes you just have to back yourself, and that's our growth, that's our evolution. That makes us who we are. That I've had constant naysayers in my life, but they're a minority, and they're the ones that I'm so grateful for. You know, the ones that sort of say to me, hey, you can't do it. And I go, I want to do it, and I think I can. There's no guarantees, but I'm going to try, you know. And so, yeah, so it does take a lot of grit, you know, and a lot of courage really to go forward. But yeah, but thank you.
Thank you.
Great session.
Way
Thank
over
you.
time.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you so
Not at
much
all.
for your time.
Mm.
So I'm going to send out all of the details, but if Christina's got the Mojo program, when's it starting, Christina?
Yes, so the Mojo Kickstart starts in about the middle of September. So maybe Trace, what we do is maybe if you just send out maybe a group sort of email and include me and just say, hey, everybody, this is Christina. I'll let you guys to connect, you know, personally if you want to have a 30-minute free Zoom call, and that way everyone kind of knows we're all together. And then yeah, we can just reach out, and then I can maybe mention to them about that Mojo program on there as well. So
well, I always send an email post masterclass, so it'll go to the whole database, but what I might do is do a separate one for the people that attended, so it's a bit more specialized for them. Yeah. And they get a copy of the recording and a link to hopefully your calendar, and we can go from there. But yeah, definitely worth following this lady up. She's amazing.
Wonderful.
I want to thank you personally for your time, Christina. It's been beautiful having you here. Amazing stuff. And thank you to everybody else that's been here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for sticking around, and hopefully we didn't cut too much into your afternoon. Thank you so much.
Take care. Look after yourself.
Bye.
Bye for now.